Hey, hi there. This is Shauna from the Foiled Fox, and I am back again with a wonderful project that features the Floral Breeze. Here is a sample of the card that we're going to be making today, and this Floral Breeze is a wonderful stamp set. You can see it here, and it has a this tree with great branches. Those would be great for fall, don't you think? As well as this one, and it has flowers and lots of other goodies to it. And then of course it has a matching die set. Then I'm going to also be using this skinny stitch frames. This is a great set. I'm going to be using that middle one. And then one of my very favorites is the postage frame, and I'm going to be using the outside frame for this one, the larger frame. And so to get started, I'm going to be using my stamp positioner, and I have a piece of Nino 110-pound white cardstock, and I have that tree with its branches, and I have inked it with honey nut, now a little bit of cocoa bean, and then for the darker shading, I'm going to be adding a little bit of dark chocolate. These are all Papertrey inks, and I'll be using those throughout. I'm going to use my finger to blend that out a little bit, and I'm going to stamp it. I'm using the stamp positioner just in case I need to stamp it twice, but I think that it turned out quite nicely the first time. Yay! And so, well, you just go on and use that, and you can see how using the blending of the inks gives it a more natural look. Then I'm going to cut that out with the natural with the matching die set, and then I have that extra piece left over, so just enough to stamp some flowers and some leaves. So I'm going to stamp a bunch of flowers, and I'm stamping it with Sweet Blush. This is the base color. There is a layering stamp to go on top, and I will be stamping that with Berry Sorbet. And I'm going to just spritz that a little bit with water so that I get a nice ink blending. And this is the layering stamp to go on top. Now you have to be careful that when you do spritz it, that you don't spritz it too much. And you'll see what I mean here, because this next flower here, I spritzed it just a little bit too much, and I had too much water on it, and so it got a little muddled. So I'm going to just stamp another one here after I stamp this flower, so that I make sure that I have all of the sizes available. And then we're going to move on to the leaves. I'm going to be using some, but first let's do the centers. There's lots of centers in this stamp set, and I used the larger one and then the smaller one and stamped it with honey nut, which is a very nice golden brown. And then now to the leaves, I'm using green parakeet, new leaf, and for the shading, pine feather. I know that this probably sounds like a lot of colors for these little tiny leaves, but it really does give it kind of a natural look to it. So I encourage you to use those, and you can see how I just stamp a little edge. You probably can't see that I'm just stamping a little edge and then a little edge of another color. And now that those are done, I'm going to take all the matching dies, and then I'm going to and cut those out, and I'm going to cut out the skinny frame and the postage frame. Those were cut out of 110 white cardstock. I have a white A2 card base. Now I have a piece of Sweet Blush, and I'm going to mount that on top. It's exactly, that's 4.5 by 5.5, 4.25, excuse me, by 5.5. And then I'm going to add the postage frame. Now you probably know, by the way, just to let you know, in case you don't, but you probably do know, that Papertrey has paper that it color matches perfectly to all of their inks. This is soft stone, and I have just a small piece of it. I think it's like 3 1/8 by 4.5, and I put some foam on the back of it so I can pop it up. Now I'm just going to temporarily layer this up a little bit so I can get an idea of how everything's going to go, and also I want to see where to put the sentiment, because I am going to be using this little mini sentiment set. It's called Hugs, and it has the sentiment, "To my friend." and I'm going to be stamping, getting an idea where it should go, and put a little pencil mark just so I know kind of in the region where I need to stamp. I'm going to first stamp Dear Friend. Now it isn't a long, to my friend, it's all in one strip. You can cut this, of course. I'm not a one that likes to do that. Sometimes I do, but if I can keep it in one strip, I really try to, because I don't want to try to put it back together if I want it in one strip again. Stamping sentiments is not my favorite, and so I really try to use the easiest method possible. And now I'm going to mask it again. I'm just using that piece of paper to mask the stamping. So I just masked off the Dear Friend, and so just now I can ink to my, and I've stamped that above that. I did Dear Friend first because it is longer, and I will make sure that I have it centered that way above one another. And then I'm going to add that little soft stone panel, and then you can see I have foam tape on the back of the skinny stitched frame. Add that, and then I have foam on the back of this tree. The branches on this are lovely, and like I say, I think it would be great for fall. So you just add your fall colors, and you're done. So this is a set that can be used for other occasions as well. And I'm using W1, a Copic marker, just to add a little bit of shading. I wanted to do that while it's in position, so I got it in just right place. And then I do have foam tape on the back of these little flowers, and I'm just going to dot them around here. And I always wonder, well, how many am I going to put in? I don't like to do an even number. I like to keep them odd. It seems to be more pleasing to the eye. So I stuck with 3, and now I'll just fill in with the leaves. And aren't these sweet little leaves? They're so cute. And I'm just going to dot them around using a little bit of liquid glue. And if you have tweezers, they're very helpful for something like this when they have such small pieces. And I'm playing around. Well, should I put that flower? I don't think so. I think I'm going to stick with this. Now there's a little heart in this stamp set, and I've decided I'm going to add that as well. I'm just going to stamp it with berry sorbet. I think it adds to the sweetness of this card. And then next I'm going to use some Nouveau crystal drops. These are simply white, and I'm just going to make really tiny dots, so you don't want to squeeze too hard when you use these. And now I'm going to also do an inside greeting. I have a sweet blush panel here, and this is from Just Because Inside Greetings, and I'm going to stamp this sentiment. And then I will also stamp a couple of flowers using sweet blush tone on tone here, and then do the layering stamp with the berry sorbet, just like I had stamped the flowers before. And of course we'll add some leaves as well, and I'll use New Leaf for that. And you notice that I do make a separate panel for my inside greeting. I like to do that for all of my cards. I like the contrast, number one, but I also like to put it on a separate panel, because if I mess up on this one, I can just get another panel and no harm is done, and I haven't disturbed all the work that I did on the main card. So just adding those little leaves in there. It looks like I used green parakeet instead of New Leaf, so I misspoke there. Just add a few leaves, and then we're good to go. I'm just going to add that in there and stick that down, and then we have the nice sentiment. So here is the completed card, and I think that it is very sweet, and it is perfect to send to a friend to bring a smile to their face. I really hope that you enjoyed this project, and if you did, I hope you will consider giving us a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. We'd be over the moon if you would do that. And then here is a list of a few of the items that we I have used for this project. You can see the Floral Breeze, and then this skinny stitch frames, postage frames, and some inks. But a complete list of everything that I've used is is on our blog. There's a link down below. Just click on that. It'll take you right there. You'll see more close-ups and the complete supply list, and of course oodles more inspiration. And that's it for today. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you next time.